It's finally a first for Narendra Modi. US congressman, part of an American delegation today, met the Gujarat Chief Minister in Ahmedabad and invited him to visit the United States. And while the US has denied Modi a visa in the past over his alleged involvement in the Godhra riots, today's development is definitely a shot in the arm for the Gujarat Chief Minister. The US congressional and business delegation was represented by Republicans Kathy McMorris, Aaron Schonk and Cynthia Loomis, along with business representatives. This is the first time that US congressmen met the Gujarat Chief Minister. The US State Department till recently had reiterated that there was no change in the US's stand on giving Modi a visa. The team is in India till the 7th of April. Narendra Modi tweeted after his meeting with the US delegation. He says, I'm thankful to the members of the US Congress and business persons for their kind words on Gujarat's development. I spoke to the USA delegation about how Gujarat has adopted a faster, inclusive and environment-friendly process of development.
The one thing they kept telling me back home was, you've got to go to Gujarat, you've got to meet with Modi, because unlike other places in India, our foreign investment is welcome. It's much easier for us to do business in the state of Gujarat. He is a very dynamic person and I think has a pretty impressive track record here in the state of Gujarat. And as a large democracy, the United States of America, we respect other democracies like the country of India.
I'm one that would be pleased to have Chief Minister Modi visit Washington State, visit Washington, D.C. I hope that we can help make that happen. As been mentioned, there's along with other colleagues, there's many of us who will want to extend that invitation. We'll continue to work to make it happen. We'll also have to be working with our administration who makes the final decision.
Getting the latest, Meghdut Sharon joining us from Ahmedabad, and also Suhasini Haider joining us on the phone line. First to you, Meghdut, the offer has been made in a sense, but any word coming in from the Chief Minister's office on a possible visa for him?
No word yet from the Chief Minister's office, but one must very clearly remember here that this invitation that has been extended to Narendra Modi has been extended by 3 congressmen. Now, 3 congressmen definitely do not represent the government of the United States, and the US State Department continues as of now, as of today, to hold the policy of not granting a visa to Narendra Modi. But we asked them this question as to whether there will be a policy shift in the US administration after this particular visit, and they said that they will go back and try and convince their colleagues about this issue.
Right, so that convincing will have to be done. In fact, this is the interview to CNN and IBN last month. US Assistant Secretary of State Robert Blake had said that there is no change in policy as far as visa to Narendra Modi is concerned.
And our policy hasn't changed. If I said something about him applying for a visa, that just refers to the fact that anybody can apply for a visa anytime. But we never prejudge the outcome of such a decision. I think a lot of this will depend on some of the decisions that are made in the Indian courts, and many of those decisions, as you know, are still outstanding.
We also have Suhasini joining us. Suhasini, interesting, isn't it? Some would say, yes, they've made this statement, the congressmen have made this statement in their own individual capacities, but this is certainly a state visit. Well, Suhasini, if you can hear me, as far as the statement is concerned by the US congressman, it appears that it could have been in his individual capacity, but the visit is not.
Karma, the fact is that these 3 US congressmen and the business officials they are with are part of an unofficial delegation. They are not part of an official delegation of the US government. That's the first point. They are not the first US congressmen to openly come out and say that the US must reverse its stand and give Mr. Modi a visa. However, there have been congressmen coming out on both sides of this issue. Remember, in April last year, there was another congressman, Joe Walsh, who came out asking the State Department to reverse its stand on Modi. And then in November, we heard from 25 congressmen who, in fact, urged Hillary Clinton not to revoke the ban on Narendra Modi's visa. So we have seen Republicans and Democrats almost getting divided on this issue. For the moment, these 3 congressmen are Republican officials. They represent the opposition party for the moment in the U.S. They are, of course, legislators, so they do have a certain amount of clout. And that's what, in fact, Representative Aaron Schock said when he was asked about the State Department's policy on Narendra Modi. He said to the media there in Ahmedabad that, in fact, he would continue to urge the State Department to change its policy. Remember, the change in policy is something not just being asked for there in the U.S. Even in India, the Indian government has consistently maintained the fact that they do not approve of America's ban on Mr. Modi, on reversing his personal visa, on revoking that visa and denying him a visa, given that he's an elected Chief Minister of India. Even so, the State Department has stuck to its position. You heard those words of Bob Blake. They came after several congressmen had asked for the U.S. State Department to change its visa, saying we have not changed it. And when I did ask Bob Blake last month just what could make the State Department consider a change, they said perhaps some kind of a court order, a final court order that could come from the Supreme Court may make them begin the process of reconsidering their decision. Karma?